Hello and welcome to the Trading Post podcast, where we unlock the secrets of business-to-business trade, dive into powerful networking strategies, and share my exciting journey of using a podcast to market my business instead of relying on SEO. I'm your host, Trader Stu. All right, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to record another episode this week, two within a week. I haven't done that yet, and it was by accident, actually. So I've been thinking about doing this anyways, watching the Buzzsprout statistics or stats, whatever, on the chart. And I've noticed that after, 2 or 3 days, it levels out. Like the listener or downloads, you can, if you do podcasts, what I'm talking about, or even YouTube videos, it's the same thing. Anyway, it goes up and then, eventually levels out just like every other video does. And I've noticed after 2 or 3 days, it levels out. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just record, every 2 or 3 days, and I'll just keep the line going up because I like that line going up. So, yeah. And what happened with this morning was that I've been up since 2:30 in the morning, as usual, pretty much. And I was out in the garage futzing around, and as I usually do at that time of day, with a coffee. And I was actually, you know what? I'll tell a quick little story. So I bought this, it's called the Coleman Instant Hot Water on Demand, and it's for when we go camping. And it's propane powered, and I'm kind of getting off, or don't want to get onto, I guess I should say, because I just started camping, like tent camping last summer, and I was a fifth wheeler growing up. So, and I promised myself I'd never camp again, as I've already gone through over and over. Anyway, after survival school and living in tents in the desert and deployments, multiple deployments. Anyway, so I said never again, but here I am, got kids, and the wife was like, kids love camping, let's go camping. So, all right. Anyway, I digress. So there's this Coleman Instant Hot Water on Demand thing I've been looking at getting, just in case, like prepping, disaster preparedness. And so just in case the power goes out or the gas goes out, we still have hot water. I can power it up by propane, and we can still have a hot shower, because I have learned after multiple deployments and living in the woods for a week that there is nothing that I looked forward to more than a hot shower. That is, other than burgers and pizza, when I was out, and I had terrible food for a while, I was like, man, I could go for a good greasy burger, and hot showers. It's just, I don't know, it warms the soul. And after a few days, if you haven't been there, you've had it done, your baby shower baths, as we call them, or baby shower showers, or baby towel. I can't think of it. Baby towel. What do you call the things where you wipe down kids with? Baby wipe showers, and then you get a hot shower. Man, I tell you what, there's nothing like it. So I've been kind of bent on getting something like that, but the thing is that they're so expensive. They're like $400 or something like that, $435, I think, for the new ones that have the shower head attachment and the propane powered and with the pump and everything. And I'm like, man, I am not paying that, and I got to lug it around, and so. At any rate, I knew the principle of it. Of course, you just have some copper tubing, wrap it around in a circle, and then, put a flame under it, and Bob's your uncle, you got yourself some hot water, right? Well, but I don't want to do all that and do a project unless I could, I absolutely had to. So anyway, I was on Facebook Marketplace. I found the original Coleman one. It's the green one, and it's just, it's supposed to be just for your sink, and I picked it up for, I think the guy wanted $75 for it. And I was like, man, he said, I haven't been using it in a long time. I was like 10 to 15 years or something like that. He hasn't used it for it. And I'm like, well, for sure the battery's dead on it because it's lead acid. So I know that's done. And then he said, I didn't have a propane tank to test it, and I don't want to charge it up and bother with it. So I don't even know if it works, kind of a thing. I'm like, well, I'll give you $20. And so he never replied to me, and I was like, well, give me a reply, at least give me something here. Cause I'm planning on using it as a disposable, and I knew I'm going to go into this thing and it's not going to work. I just knew it. And, he's like, well, about $30. I was like, fine, $30. It's worth what I want to do with it. Anyway, sure enough, and get over there, pick it up, and go home and plug it in and whatever. And it don't work. The battery's dead, won't take a charge. I happen to have the same exact battery for my son's little battery operated dinosaur thing that he rides, and I was like, perfect. So at least I can just test it. So I pulled that out, the other one out, and swapped this one in. And, they're worth 20, $25 for these batteries, by the way. So, and I knew that going into it. And so I fired it up, and the propane didn't want to kick off. So, and stay lit. So I was like, man, I don't know if it's the pump, right? So I don't know if it needs to have the pump running in order for the flame to stay lit, because otherwise it may melt the copper inside, right? It's got to have cold water running through it. Otherwise it won't work. So I was like, well, okay. I just picked up a bucket over my head, kind of a thing, like with a gallon in it, and then that way I just made it take water and flow through the system. But because the pump wasn't running, I broke something when I disconnected the pump, and I couldn't plug it back in for some reason. It won't click. At any rate, so I was like, well, I wrote Coleman and I said, is this the issue? Does the pump have to run for this to work? I'm assuming that was the answer. And of course, like I said, I've been up since 2:30 this morning. I'm like, what? I want a project anyway, and I don't want to carry around a propane tank. This thing was heavy. I think it must weigh a minimum of 20 pounds, this thing, right? It's got a battery in there. You got the unit and, the copper and the plastic and the regulator, and it's a whole system. So I was like, I don't want to lug all this around for, put it in the van. It's going to take up room. It's heavy, and it's going to be just kind of cumbersome, and we're probably never going to use it anyway. So I was like, well, I want the heart of this thing anyway. So I took it apart, and sure enough, I found out it does work how I, of course, thought it worked. And, the flames go underneath of it, and then, it circulates the water around the copper. So I was like, cool. I gutted it out, and I took the heart out, and now I have this, unit laying there, and I'm playing with it, trying to get it set up to take a hose attachment, and that's what my fittings are for. And anyway, so I digress again. So I got so into my project that I forgot what time it was. And so my wife just literally texted me. It was at 9:06. She goes, why did you leave so early this morning? Because usually I leave at 9, not 8. I guess I left at 8. And I didn't know it. So here I am recording an episode now because I'm here at the office an hour early. And it's snowing on April 10th. And unfortunately, my desk is facing the wrong way. Does anybody else have a desk in their office and the back is towards the window? This is the second time I've had a desk like this where I have an awesome view, cool big window, but I don't even look out of it because my back is to it all day. And you don't look around from your monitor all that much. You probably should, but I don't really all that much. I need to rearrange my desk anyway, because it's terrible. The glare on the screen, my shades are usually closed anyways because of the glares, and I don't get to enjoy the rain or the snow or whatever. So, and yes, I do like inclement weather. I don't say sunshine. There's nothing to look at with the sunshine. I like watching snow, sleet, rain, thunderstorms, lightning, all this stuff, right? So, at any rate, here I am recording the episode. Wow, that was a 8-minute rant explanation on why I'm here, and like as if you care. At any rate, so I wanted to mention something. I talked to somebody yesterday, and it was about podcasting, and she said that her number one download that they have is, I say they because I guess there's a small team or whatever that runs it, and at any rate, the number one podcast download they have, I think, is 200 downloads. I was like, wait, what? Only 200? Usually you think of yourself as a successful podcaster, I guess, of thousands of downloads, but they're only a local podcast. It's like a local radio station. It's a citywide, basically. So I guess 200 is good just for being in the city, or the region, not even a region. It's just like a town. At any rate, so I was like, well, that's way less than, I don't know how you're making money. You know what I'm saying? It's not even marketing almost at this point, I guess. I don't know. It's cool that she's excited for that, but I was like, wow, for as many episodes as you have, and as long as it's been going, I would have imagined thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of downloads by this point in time, I guess. And I think that's where I wanted to get into this, is that many podcasters get so distracted or deflated by how little listenership they have. Now, I'm really bad with this. I put up a download, or I put up an episode, and I get several downloads, and I'm just like, you know what? I second guess it, and I'm taking it down, or whatever, because it just didn't flow right, or I didn't like the sound. The audio quality was terrible, and sometimes I just record things just to record and get it out, because if you don't, you procrastinate, you overthink yourself, and you never get it done. You never do it. That's just the way I am. I have to like just do it and then fix it later. So because of that, I have only, I think, 10 downloads. Yeah, yesterday was my 10th download, or not download, upload, like 10th episode or whatever. You get like, awards or whatever on Buzzsprout, and I was like, wow, I have been 7 months into this. I started this in October, and I only have 10 downloads. And that's what's cool about this kind of like a program, is that the Buzzsprout thing anyway, I don't know, they all do this, but they keep track of that for you. And so when people are like, oh man, I've been doing this for whatever, months or a year or whatever, and I only have this many people listening, I'm like, yeah, but dude, so like, I hate using Joe Rogan, because he like played the cheat code. I don't want to say the cheat code because he worked for it, don't get me wrong, but like, he was in Fear Factor, and he was MMA fighter, and he called MMA, fights, and he was a comedian, or is a comedian, I guess, still. And so he had this huge following. Of course, when you start a podcast, you're going to get everyone all at one time, listening to it, because you already have your group, right? It's like my mom and my sister are both beauticians, certified, whatever. And, I hear about, these girls, they bring their crew with them. They go to a new job, a new salon, and they already have whatever, say 10 regulars, right, showing up. And the girl's like, wow, how'd you do that already? Well, she's like, I've been doing this for whatever, a couple of years. And, I've moved around twice because of whatever. And my people follow me, they don't care about the salon. It's me. And it's the same thing. It's just people don't see that. All they see is like the big, was he make $30 million or something like that a month or something crazy? And, but it's not even like apples to apples. Your top 5%, it doesn't take much. I'll say it doesn't take much to get there, but it's a big 5%, and I like looking at these stats of the podcast stats that someone sent me. It's called podcastindex.org. And it's pretty cool. So it says total podcasts in the index is 4,497,695. Let's just say 5 million. But only in the last 3 days is 97,000 shows been published. In the last 10 days, 244,000. So, compare that with YouTubers who try and make it or get in there and make monetization. This is a pretty good odds. I mean, this is worldwide, right? So that's pretty solid, I think. Anyway, you got to think of numbers on worldwide scales, not just your local area. And I guess I have people listening all over, but really, I mean, I'm regional. I work for the trading association. That's a regional area. It's the Metro Trading is regional, and I work for them. The podcast is completely separate. It's just about advertising, trade, and barter, and it's the same thing. But however you want to use it. But the whole point was just not even brand awareness, just awareness. Nobody knows what trade is, and that was the whole point of this show. So it was never intentional to be what it became. It's not like I have thousands of listeners. I'm not making money off of this or nothing like that yet, hopefully, right? So it's about just getting the word out there about trade and to the young people, because it's not being taught in college. I've actually been asked to speak at a couple of colleges by professors that said, hey, you should come by and talk about this in my marketing group. I'm like, perfect, dude. Just let me know when to be there. I have another speaking engagement in November to talk about it. And so I think that's great. And that's where we got to go, because unfortunately, nobody knows about this. They just think about Facebook, what's the other one? Instagram, TikTok, and advertising on there. Well, it's great if you're at that level, I guess, of more of a bigger scale. But if you're just a small, say a locksmith, you're not going to do all that. You should do trade and get the word out there that way. So speaking of discouragement and running a podcast or starting a podcast to market because SEO is dying because of AI. I don't know about you, but I don't even hardly Google anything anymore ever. I use Perplexity for me. That's what I do. And, there's ChatGPT and stuff like that. But and actually, Perplexity is ChatGPT. It has that built into it. At any rate, that doesn't, as far as I know, that doesn't hit any kind of search engine optimizations. It just scrolls for whatever you're looking for through all the databases, through all the, I guess Reddit feeds and other podcasts and things of that nature. And it just gives you a summary of all of that compiled in together. It doesn't look for SEO. It just looks through the web pages. As far as I know, I don't know how it really, boils down, but everyone's talking about SEO is dying. And it's a time waste now. It's like snake oil, right? It's yesteryear, things of the past. So the only way to really get out there and get going, now I don't want to say the only way, but is podcasting. But the problem is it's super time consuming. It's time consuming. I should look up how many hours I've actually done so far with the podcast. But with Buzzsprout, with the basic plan, I get 3 hours of a month. So I figured that, one podcast a week, that's what, 2 hours per month. And then, so, let's say 30 times 4, right? So that's 2 hours and then plus a couple of bonus. So if I want to do another one like I'm doing today or, whatever, or I go over 30 minutes, then, I got buffer. But I'm not even doing that. I think last month I wasted, I think I did 7 minutes in total last month on a podcast. So I wasted almost the whole thing. And then that happened again. I think another month, I don't think I podcast at all. So all 3 hours got smoked. So, right there, I'm paying for 6 hours of podcasting and I haven't used it. And it's not expensive. I think was it $22 a month or something like that. I can't remember, 22, 29. It's not crazy. It's a hobby, right? Cheaper than most any other hobby I know of. And anyway, and it's not even a tax write-off because I'm not running it through Metro Trading. The company is not paying for it. Like I said, it's on my own entity. I'm just doing this for awareness. So all I'm saying is, once you start a podcast, it's, don't get discouraged by that. I've been on a feed or a group on Alignable, and the guy was saying, I posted on there, it's like, does anybody else have an issue with wasting time? Like literally, this is actually wasting time. I pay let's say $30. That's $10 an hour. Let's just go ahead and say that 10 times 30 is 30. And I've wasted it. It's gone. It's $30 is smoked, right? Literally. So he's like, yeah, dude, once I got started, I did the same thing. Now he goes after a year or whatever it's been, and dozens of episodes. He's like, now I have to buy time, because I run out of the 3 hour mark. And then you can buy every, I think, hour or half hour, you buy more time. And so everyone goes through it. And so don't get discouraged about how little downloads you have and that you're wasting time. I do. I mean, I do get discouraged, not discouraged, but like kind of like, not angry, but like flustered. You know what I'm saying? So because I lost those 3 hours that you never get back, it doesn't roll over. You just use or lose, like a PTO at a job. So yeah. All right, you marketing leaders, strap in for a wild ride to the neon-drenched psychedelic landscape of 21st century advertising. We're about to dive headfirst into the exciting realm of Get Prepped, a video game that's not just a game, but a revolutionary way to market your products to the masses. Picture this. You're sitting in your living room, eyes wide with wonder, when suddenly you're transported into a virtual world where the lines between reality and fantasy blur like a dolly painting in a microwave. This, my friends, is Get Prepped. And it's about to turn the advertising world on its head. Get Prepped is here to help. Forget everything you know about advertising. This isn't your grandfather's Madison Avenue approach. This is the future, and it's as breathtaking and thrilling as a sunset over Las Vegas. Imagine your product right there in the hands of your potential customers. No ad blockers, no skip buttons, just pure, unadulterated exposure. It's like delivering your message directly to the consumer's heart. And the reach? My God, the reach. We're talking about an industry 3 times the size of movies and music combined. It's a behemoth, a leviathan of capitalism that makes YouTube look like a public access channel in BFE. But here's the kicker. The amazing opportunity that'll have you smiling all the way to success. It's affordable, cheaper than many traditional marketing methods. For the price of a year's worth of SEO snake oil, you can have your product showcased across the virtual wonderland for eternity. So listen up, you innovative thinkers. The world is changing. If you don't change with it, you'll be left behind, a relic of a bygone era, like phone books or human decency. Get Prepped isn't just a game. It's a ticket to future of advertising. The wave of the future is coming, and it's either ride it or be crushed beneath it. The choice, you visionary leaders, is yours. So what it does to me, though, actually, is it lights a fire, though. I need that loss. I got to have that. Otherwise, I get complacent. So I get, oh man, I lost 3 hours, whatever, last month. Okay, well, I better go ahead and knock it out. And already I'm doing better this week than I did all last month, right? I did one on Tuesday. I think it was like 27 minutes. And then, I got one today. I'm already at 19. So you just got to get it out there and just hit record and start doing it. And then also don't worry about editing. Quit over editing. I am so tired. I quit listening to a lot of podcasts because it got to be such a production. There's no more errors. There's no more, I don't know. It's too flawless. It's too orchestrated. They have this long intro that if I can, I skip through it. Sometimes I'll even start a podcast, if I do start one, in the driveway before I hit the road because I don't want to deal with all the intro stuff. I talk about, first of all, it's a long intro, music thing, and, it's a couple of minutes maybe or whatever. So mine, I kept it, I think it's under 27 seconds or something like that. So under 30 seconds, I had to do, my name, whatever. And then that's it. It's all done. But some of these are just like, here's a long intro thing before we even start talking. And then, what'd you do last? There's have a co-host and host and co-host. Hey, what'd you do last weekend? And what'd you do with the kids and all this other stuff? I'm like, I don't care. I'm here for business, or I'm here for camping stuff, or prepping stuff maybe, or, whatever. Let's be honest. Camping is prepping. If you can camp without being on the grid, you can prep, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not really, but so to speak. You're better than most. Anyway. So yeah. Don't over edit. Don't over edit. Because you can tell when you cut out all the cuts. I have one I had to cut out because I cussed. And this is for kids, and it was a SHTF, but I didn't say it that way. I actually said it. And anyway, I don't think it's too bad of a word. It's crazy what's on YouTube right now, actually. I was watching a short the other day, and there was some straight up cussing. Don't get me wrong. I'm a former Air Force mechanic, so if anyone's got a mouth on them, I do. And it's really hard to watch my mouth even around my own kid. But the fact that they're letting that out there untethered like that, and I don't know, it's a different time. That's all I'm saying. So anyway. All right, so I guess one tip I want to say, if you're doing the podcast bit, find time in the morning before anyone's up and do that. So what I've noticed is that I come in the morning, sometimes early, sometimes not, in the office. I've tried doing it in my old sauna, in the sauna studio, I called it. And it's just, it's so enclosed and claustrophobic, I can't handle it. And I even soundproofed it and stuff like that. I need a window or something. I don't know. It's not conducive to my well-being to be in there for a half an hour and do a podcast. I come out feeling like I'm wore out instead of energized. So I have to come in the office. I turn the phones down, and I should have. The phone hasn't rang yet. Thankfully, it's early enough. Anyway, so, and then do it real quick. If you try and get over 23 minutes, if you don't know that, 23 minutes is the cutoff for monetization for Buzzsprout. And go for it and just do it. And after you edit it, make sure you're still over 23 minutes. Like I said, don't over edit. And don't, of course, I say ums sometimes. I noticed it, and I have other things that I say, but try not to worry too much about editing all that out. Just get it done and hit record and upload it, and then keep going. And then you can always take them down later. That's what I do. It's not, I don't know if it's recommended or good or bad, but whatever. I do it anyway. So everyone always says, oh, you should batch record. Yeah, I know. I should batch record. Batch recording is where you get in here and you do all your 3 hours all at one time in one day. You do your 23 minutes, end it, save it, and then another episode and do it again. And you do the whole month in one day. Sounds awesome. I wish I could do that. But, what are you going to do? I don't know. I want to do it, but that's the next step. That's to me, that's a lot of planning and a lot of work and a lot of script writing all at one time without any of the getting any feedback back, I guess. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention too is that people are talking about the AI entering the field for podcasting. The whole point of podcasting is to kind of, I don't want to say develop rapport, maybe. I guess you could say that with your audience, but AI doesn't do that, obviously. It's a robot. And my YouTube watching has gone way down. And I'm so thankful for it because I'm getting so much more done around the house. Because honestly, in the morning, usually I'd have a coffee and sit there and watch YouTube for a couple hours on my TV. And now I'm out futzing around in the garage and getting things done and choring and, knocking it all out, right? So I'm getting more of my time back because AI is so, it's hard. It's getting to the point where it's not even fun anymore. It's taking all the realism out of it, I guess. I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not, and what's fake and what's not, and what's truth and what's a lie. And I don't want to sit there and have to analyze and figure that out. I already do have to do that with people, during the day to know about lies and whatever, right? So I want to be able to get information. Not saying that the news is real either. I mean, we all know that it's fake news, whatever, but I don't know. So I'm with having a podcast as a AI narrator. I don't know. The one thing I thought was kind of actually intriguing with AI though was that if you want to do a host and a co-host, you could have the AI be the co-host because people are like, oh, you should start doing interviews now with other members of trading associations or trade groups, barter groups, whatever, and see how it's helped them in their business. I'm like, yeah, but I already can't even get a podcast done without having to schedule a time to make a phone call or a Zoom call, record it, make sure everything's all right, get them on the line, schedule they're busy. They're all entrepreneurs. They're all busy. They're all business owners, right? So you have to do that, and it's just like, why? I don't know. It sounds like a lot of logistics, and I just think it'll never happen. It'll never get done. And I know me, so I'd rather not get into interviewing, even though I know podcasting is probably supposed to be that way, but I don't really care. I'm also not doing video either. I'm an audio only podcaster. So you should do video. I'm like, dude, I've already done video podcasting once. I've already done video or YouTubing once because, it was kind of like both. And do the audio is one thing. Then you have to edit that. Then you have to do the video. Then you had the camera angles and the lighting and the shadows. And there's just so much. I don't know how people do it every day. You have to be super dedicated to it or whatever. They just put out garbage and they don't care. But that's what I've noticed too. Why is all this stuff getting recycled right now? All these old videos are coming back of 7 years ago or more that were big hits. And now it's almost like it's like Hollywood. Everyone's lost origination or thinking, and there's nothing out there anymore. It's going viral. So they're trying to recycle it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've already seen this. We're done with that. That's over. Stop, So anyway, I think YouTube has kind of had its run, to be honest. I think that's over because people can get entertainment like that anywhere. And YouTube was real people doing real entertainment, and now it's over. So, all right, to wrap it all up, I just want to go over one more thing too with the podcasts and B2B podcasting, I guess you could say, is that it's really hard to find business to business podcasting for business to business. I found 2 so far. I've been looking, and you can find them, but they're not relevant, right? So like the last upload was like 22 or 23. So they're already 3 to 4 or 5 years out, depending. And it's just not like so much has changed in like the last year alone. So I don't even bother with those old ones that aren't getting uploads anymore. So the 2 that I found that are getting constant uploads are from Britain. Again, even that is a similar market, but it's not our market. It's not America, right? So, and so if you have a business to business podcast, I think now's the time to get going and be kind of not first in, but get her going and, keep uploading at least once a week. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, or twice a week. In my case, I want to do. So that being said, listening to podcasts, looking for those business to business to compare what I can do and what I can't, what I shouldn't do. And, but it's getting harder and harder to find them. And I think they say podcasting is on the up and up. Of course, that was because of the White House, with the election. That was what they say was the deciding factor of Trump winning was the podcast. So now I don't know. I don't really see a tick up in new podcasts, but perhaps podcast listening and engagement is up. So there's that too. All right. Well, that's it for now. Be good or be good at it.
The thoughts and views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and do not reflect the official policy or position of Metro Trading Association. Although the host is an employee of Metro Trading Association, this podcast is intended to educate entrepreneurs on the benefits of professional trading regardless of their location. Additionally, the host reviews various pieces of camping gear due to the Association of Trade, Barter, and Prepping.